So in this video we will understand the general state of the stress, and we will discuss how we get the relation for the one Mises stresses. So in the one Mises criteria we have discussed for the failure theories. We have told that we will discuss its derivation. So in the general state of the stress, you know that for the Cartesian coordinate system, there are normal stresses, shear stresses on each face of the cubic element. So writing in general form, the strain energy density for the considering all the stresses, normal and shear stresses. So the strain energy density is equal to 1 over 2 sigma into E. So there are three directions, so X, Y, and Z. And this is the shear stress, shear strain. So the total strain energy is equal to 1 over 2, and these all expressions. So recalling equation 2.29 and substituting for the strain components into equation 11.21, the most general state of stress at a given point of an elastotropic body. So we have replaced for all the strain components, this is the Ex, Ey, and Ez, and we substitute for these expressions into this one, and we get sigma square x. How we get this is the strain in x, right? And this is equal to sigma x over E, uh, sigma x over E, considering the Poisson effect. So this is the sigma y over E minus Poisson sigma z over E. So this was the expression for the general strain in x direction, because strain in x direction, it is positive due to the positive stress in the x direction, but at the same time Poisson effect, sigma y is going to decrease the strain in x direction. So substituting all these for the x, y, and z in this equation, so then we will get this kind of equation. So you can do it on your own, and just substituting this you will get this relation. So if the principal x's at the given point are used as coordinate x's, the shearing stresses become 0 and equation 11.22 reduces to. So if we consider only the principal axis, right, as a coordinate, then we know that on the principal plane shear stress is 0. There are only normal stresses. So replacing this x, y, and z by the a, b, and c. So this is the strain energy considering only the principal stresses at given point, right? So this is the total strain energy. This is the other form of expressing the strain energy density in terms of principal stresses. So a given state of stress causes a ductile material to yield is the maximum distortion energy criteria, which is based on energy per unit volume associated with the distortion of that material. So strain energy has two components. Which one? One is the strain energy density, which changes the volume of the material, and the other one which changes the shape of the material. So the one which changes the shape of the material we refer as the distortion energy, strain energy density, and the one which changes the volume of the material That is called the strain energy density, volumetric strain energy density. So in order to determine how we will find out the UV and the UD, so we will introduce the average value of the principal stresses at the point considered as this is the average stress, this is the principal stress A, B, C over 3. And sigma A is equal to average stress plus sigma A prime, sigma B prime, and sigma C prime. So there will be some change of sigma A prime. Sigma A prime and sigma B prime and sigma C prime, they might not be same, but their summation will be equal to 0 because this is the average value of the stress. So this is also another relation which was used in chapter number 2, that for the volumetric change in volume, this will be equal to 0 and dilatation will be equal to 0. So this can be expressed by this diagram. Elements subjected to multi-axial state of this stress, it means that there are stresses which are equal. Average stress, they are equal in quantity and acting on each face of the cube, plus sigma A prime, sigma B prime, and sigma C prime. So we already discussed that sigma A prime and sigma B prime, they might not be equal. So if they are not equal to each other, so this will result in the distortion of that element. In the other case, there are the average stress on each face of the element that are same. So it will only change the volume of the element. So there are, we segregate this distortion, strain energy into two parts. One is the distortion and the other one is the volumetric, which changes the volume of the material point. So the portion UV of the strain energy density corresponding to a change in volume of element can be obtained by substituting sigma prime for each of the principal axes in equation 11.23. So replacing the sigma A, sigma B, and sigma C, we all replace these by the average stress. So this will reduce to this equation. So this is the equation. And then substitute again the average value of the stress, which is equal to sigma A plus sigma by C divided by 3. So 3 will cancel out with this 3, and we will get the strain energy density associated with the change in volume of the cubic element. So how we will get the distortion energy, distortion strain energy density? So that will be equal to U minus UV. So subtracting the UV from U, we will get this expression for the UD. So you can do it on your own to more understand this mathematical expressions. This was the expression that we used in the von Mises failure criteria. In plane stress conditions, we know that a third stress component becomes 0. So this will reduce to this one, and that was the expression which we use in the von Mises failure criteria, which tell us that if this energy is less than the yield strength for the tensile test, so the material will be considered as the safe. Otherwise, if it exceeds the yield stress, square of the yield stress, then that will be, the material will be considered as the fail. Now, this was all about the derivation of the von Mises stress and the general state of the stress. What is the strain energy, its component, which are responsible for the change in volume and the change in the shape of the material. of any material.